Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Talking Skritt. I'm your host John, better known as Dan around Yak Spin. We have a fantastic show for you. Upcoming changes to fall damage and revival, discussions of currency abstraction in Guild Wars 2 and the Raven Spirit Mastery Teased, and much more. But first, let me introduce you to my fellow host. He is a moderator over at MMO Champion and host of Zero to Hero on this very channel. We were teased a little, like I said before, about the next episode, which got me thinking, if we could see a rise of the Magnificent Seven, or will we all end up just being the captive? Say hello to Jim.
Anything with Eldritch Horror is a bad end. So there's that.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you familiar with that series? Because I'm not, because I know we'll be talking about that today.
The Magnificent Seven, no.
Well, no. That I'm talking about the H.P. Lovecraft stuff.
I'm
Magnificent Seven actually got me thinking when I saw the tease about the shaman stuff, the Raven stuff. But we'll get into that. Also, he streams over on Twitch where he answers the age-old question. With even more teases of the Living Saga, did anyone else hear the whispers in the dark? I think they said, "Delete thief, delete thief." Say hello to Age.
Time to go again, guys.
It's been nice.
And everybody was so happy that we had all four here. No, I ruined it.
Good
I'm
job,
Jormag. Oh my god.
though.
And she writes for MMORPG.com and editor over at Virtually Interrupted, and also her own site, MMORly.com. It looks like the Raven Spirit will be helping out. But what about the other great spirits? No mention of bear, snow leopard, or wolf. What kind of roarist agenda is this? Say hello to Robin.
Roarist agenda?
Well, bear, snow leopard, and wolf, they're all animals that kind of have like a roar.
Okay.
Raven's the only one that, why is it just Raven?
Yeah, I see. All right. I'm with you.
It was a stretch. It's hard to do a roar joke in every year or every year. Wow. Well, if you probably ask people, I probably only do one that's funny every once a year.
You could do I got the eye of the tiger, just listen to me roar thing.
But none of them are tigers.
I was saying go the different way with it.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm with Mofongo. Like the spirit of Corgi will save us.
Well, let us jump right into it. I know we talked about it last week a little bit because it revealed to us some teases of the Living Story stuff, but it was with ArenaNet's Extra Life 2019, just kind of the stream results. They did report that they basically thanking the Guild Wars 2 community that they raised a total of $128,000 to Children's Miracle Network hospitals, and they kind of just were saying, thank you to everyone. So, if you took part or even, retweet or sent the message out further, because I know we try to say all the time, it's like you don't always have to support a charity or something like that with just physical money alone if you don't have the money type thing. But if you can always do your part by just retweeting something or so, good job to the Guild Wars 2 community and everybody who took part. This is the accumulated amount, right? Yeah, I think this was from their tweet, so I think this was all of it together. But yeah, any thoughts on that? I mean, I know we'll get into all the stuff that was teased, but
I heard something that actually kind of disturbed me a bit because I heard they actually got DDoS. So I'm like,
yeah,
they did.
Yep. Yeah.
not specifically Arena or something, but yeah,
No,
the
the
Extra Life
charity.
organization.
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
if-
someone-
So stupid. Of all the things, seriously.
Though I think I always hear that happening every year, every other year or something. Every once in a while it happens to which it still is a crappy thing. I mean, but
I feel like if you do that, you need to re-examine your life.
Right.
It's a little bit, yeah.
Jeez.
Just a little bit.
but
Kind of ridiculous that people would consider targeting a charity in the first place,
Right.
let alone a children's charity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, I don't know.
yeah, it's a pretty sad thing. But yeah, so like we said, it really didn't stop. ANET, like I said, 128,000 reached dollars reached. So awesome jobs. But also, during the stream, they teased out a little bit of episode 1, which was the Whisper in the Dark. We showed off last week the little image that had the bone skinner, or at least what we assume it was it was all staticky, but do remember it is going to release November 19th. But I mean, since I'm trying to think who was here last, like Arlie, you weren't here last week. Like, what do you think of the teaser image of the bone skinner? And I also still do have the concept art because they did reuse that. It kind of basically shows Bram in almost looks like a cyclone of snow, and looks like hands and like tattered flags, and he has hair.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just really liked your description of it. But no, it's really interesting, and like, I wish there was more. Like, I don't know what to say about it because like there's not a whole lot to go off of there.
Well, we might have a little bit more insight because if you remember back to the announcement, Living Saga announcement on what was it, the end of August during PAX Prime, where they even said they were looking to more like Lovecraft type stuff, so darker themes and whatnot.
Okay.
Well, someone on Reddit, I think it was Oswald_Thorn, so very appropriate, was saying on Reddit that apparently there's a Lovecraft novel that is, I believe the title is The Whisper in Darkness, which is very close to our title, Whisper in the Darkness.
Right.
Which I don't know if you guys have any familiarity with that novel itself, but
I don't with that specific one, just like with H.P. Lovecraft in general, but it's really interesting to me because there are so many games this year that seem to be drawing influences from H.P. Lovecraft. I just want to be like, where was there a memo that passed around to developers at various game studios and was like, this year is about H.P. Lovecraft. Let's do it.
Hey, all I know is I hope FromSoft gets the memo and gives me Bloodborne 2. But
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just, it's really interesting me, like this coincidence, because like it looks like Guild Wars 2 is pulling in it. WoW has been pulling on it some, much lighter, but it's definitely pulling on it some. And then there were 2 really good indie games this year that were very heavily steeped in it. So
the one thing about the teaser image, I remember showing this to Krista, and she's just like, what if that's his guild?
No, wait, his guild is us.
No, the people
exactly
he went to go fight Jormag with when he was being all pissy.
Oh, right.
That would be cool. Yeah, that's what got stopped.
Well, like when we left off with the last one, we were following Ritlock's son into the thing. So,
Blizzards.
I mean, yeah, it could be we finally catch up to them and there's destruction and stuff maybe.
For some reason in my head now is that going to be the code name for the thing since it's dealing with the dragon? Just call it Blizzards and Lizards.
Blizzards and Lizards. Nice. I like it. Blizzards, lizards, and gizzards.
Oh my.
If that is not a dynamic event title, come on, ANET.
That would be awesome.
Basically, you have to go collect gizzards.
It could be a Thanksgiving event in game.
Oh, God. Yum.
You could find gizzards and throw them at other players.
Well, it might be fitting since we're talking about the bone skinner. You might be able to fillet some people or something. I don't know.
And I'm not going to lie. Every time you say bone skinner, all I can hear is Randy Savage in my head.
Welcome to my world. But it doesn't happen with just saying bone skinner.
Yeah, for you, it's just everything. Yeah.
Yes. And yeah, chat's saying that, hopefully they'll be releasing a trailer or something here next week, or if they are doing a trailer, which I really hope so.
Yeah, I mean, their trailers have been steadily getting better and better, I think, in the way they format them and stuff. So.
For the story releases, yes.
Right, yes, yes. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of going back to the H.P. Lovecraft thing, I was curious if we could learn anything from it, because I did look up like the synopsis of it and kind of read through it, and it basically involves a guy who is contacted by someone else in another a remote location. Come up here, I got proof that these creatures or something are real type thing. And he eventually goes up there and he finds out that basically there's these, I guess, body snatcher type things where they take someone's body and appearance and kind of assimilate into the crowd and stuff, but I guess leave their brains or whatever in jars that keep them alive and can still talk or whatnot.
Nice.
And yeah, I think it ends up where he finds out later that, because he finally gets people to come to this person's house and everything's been like abandoned, like they just left or whatever, and apparently there's like an empty glass jar type thing that looked like it was housing something, or if I remember correctly. But granted, I haven't personally read the story, but that was what I got from the quick little synopsis on the Wikipedia and stuff. So, but if someone else out there, if you're watching us on YouTube, is more familiar with the specific one, what is it? The Whisper in the Darkness. Maybe if maybe some bits of the story that could relate to something in Guild Wars 2, do let us know. I'd be definitely curious.
Yeah.
The idea of people being taken over, honestly, dovetails really well with basically every single dragon.
Right.
With the corruption. I kind of like how they're setting things up, because it has always felt to me like the Icebrood are less loss of mind, because the what's the dragon worshipping faction of Norn? What do they call themselves?
Sons of Svanir.
The Sons of Svanir, like some of them are very clearly, like in some of the events, they're very clearly dragon corrupted, but they talk. And that was kind of reserved for previous dragons, for much like higher level entities of like the dragon's corrupted units.
Right, to the lieutenants or higher kind
other
of
than
thing.
like Mordremoth, but dragon of the mind kind of deal. I kind of it's really, I can't remember the dude's name because it's just escaping me. The guy who's leading the expedition to try and make Jormag a pet.
Bangar?
Yeah, Bangar. The prologue makes it seem like it's possible that he's already like been taken over effectively. It's like there's an ambiguity there that I really like. Like he might already be under Jormag's influence, and he's just leading a whole bunch of really strong Char warriors to be corrupted.
Yeah. Maybe he's the Bone Skinner.
Well, the tracks, the Bone Skinner's tracks are on the side of the building where his office is.
Mm-hmm. But I know his chat was already talking about it, but we got another little teaser thing from Twitter today, or not today, sorry, this past week, showing off, I guess this is going to be the new mastery in the new, or for the next section, and they basically do say on there that Raven is one of the Norn spirits of the wild. Use his power to battle Jormag's forces through the mastery system on November 19th. And from here, it looks like you can pray at some of the shrines there. and it looks like it's protecting them from maybe a very icy storm. Maybe that's like a map mechanic that's going to happen, like almost like a deep freeze or something for X amount of time. Or...
So that pretty much confirms we're going to get new masteries in this story.
Yeah, I think they already confirmed that a bit
Okay.
ago, that this is going to have new masteries.
That's cool.
Also, if we're being protected from a blizzard, what happened to Coda's flame?
We ate it.
I don't know. I just thought that, I know a whole bunch of people were hoping to see Coda's flame masteries come back.
Yeah.
But
I know a lot of people, like I've seen a lot of people in like chat was saying of they're wondering and slightly hopeful that maybe they'll go back to the other statues in the game that you could possibly pray at the shrine and get this. You know, we don't know if it has a buff attached to it, or I mean, if it's just protecting you from intense cold, we might not see too much use out of it in the older areas unless they put it in the older areas, but I don't think they will.
Well, I mean, they've stayed away from trying to update the maps in the past, but I think we might see more of that because, like, with things becoming more active in the north and stuff, we could see an expansion of the winter coldness and stuff.
Well, Z did say that part, like in the April blog post that he made, that they were looking to not necessarily release a new map with every expansion and possibly looking to update old maps. So
yep.
I'm hoping that's gonna be a thing. So maybe Raven's Blessing will get you fall damage reduction back.
Which we'll definitely talk about later. But
that's called foreshadowing.
But as I was like looking at some of this stuff, I was slightly interested in possibly having a theory of where maybe the story could go. Because for people that aren't familiar, the reason the Norn are down there is they were driven out by Jormag when he started trying to corrupt the land of the north. And basically think Game of Thrones, but the corruption won.
They didn't
but
have a
the
big
interesting
wall.
thing is, oh, go ahead.
They didn't have a big wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. We only had those little whooshy portals, and that didn't help.
Yeah, it didn't help at all.
But yeah, the interesting thing I hope might be the case is the only reason the Norn were able to get away were, and if you can look at some of the history of this if you go to Holbrook, the spirits of the wild, which everybody's familiar with, you know, like we said before, raven, bear, snow leopard, and wolf. But there's lesser ones which are still still existent, but there are 4 lost ones. Well, 3 if you look at Holbrook, but there is a old thing from Rhys Osby that talks about 4 spirits that stayed behind to fight Jormag. And they were Owl, Wolverine, Dolyak, or Ox, and Eagle. And I think Eagle was the one that wasn't listed in Holbrook or anything in there, but is the one that they talk about. But what's interesting is we only know that Owl was killed in confirmation in game, because one of the Dolyak, or not one of the Dolyak shamans, one of the shamans for the Owl Spirit actually confirmed that Owl was dead. But you
were saying one of the Dolyaks like said it, and I was like, what? The Dolyaks like, Owl died.
Like, oh no. No wonder the Owls couldn't tell us.
Yeah. Sorry.
But yeah, they do say with the other 3 that it's unknown what happened to them. And I tried looking. What if Bone Skinner is the corrupted Dolyak spirit?
Oh, that would be cool to deal with.
And like, what if we maybe that's the entry to it, and then we have to fight a Wolverine version and an Eagle, and maybe we get to find out what happened to Owl, legitimately. Because they also do say that the shaman believes they could bring the Owl spirit back. I don't know how, but
magic.
But it's just curious that they're leaning into like using these spirits to lead the charge back up to Jormag. So it's like maybe we'll learn about what happened to all the other spirits. Well, there is no like devoured by the dragon. We only know the owl was devoured by the dragon. We do not have any confirmation of Wolverine, Dolyak, or Eagle.
Yeah. Like in game or in books or
Yeah.
extra website writing. They haven't said that for sure.
But I don't know. I started thinking about that today and I was like, that'd be kind of cool if we found out, because these are like lost spirits. Like they allow the Norn to continue existing. So it'd be like a real, hit to their ego if that happened.
So one thing I wasn't clear on, I've never been clear on, was how long before the start of the game ago were the Norn pushed down? Like, because in game when you play the Norn starting area, there are things that make it seem like it was recent, but there's also things that make it seem like it happened a while ago.
Chat's saying Bone Skinner is supposed to be the reawakened dragon skeleton from Drakar Lake. I thought Drakar Lake was a totally separate thing.
Yeah, I don't think that's been a confirmed thing.
Because they literally showed 2 screenshots of. Yeah, I was gonna say, like they showed the Drakar dragon thing as like a more big thing, and this is like even the little screenshot showed the Bone Skinner above someone's corpse. Like it's a tinier. And, well, compared to the thing under Drakar Lake, yes.
Look,
yes.
Look, if all of my experience with Dark Souls has taught me, you are always more afraid of the things that are smaller and want to kill you. 100%.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it would be kind of interesting because, like you said, if Bone Skinner's footprints were found outside of all that stuff, and it's kind of like trying to hunt people down, like the Dolyak is supposed to be known for its teachings in strength and perseverance. So
QED, I don't remember them ever saying anything that that the Bone Skinner is the thing from Drakar Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that ever being.
I remember seeing like people not ArenaNet saying that, like theorizing it, but I don't remember anybody from ArenaNet saying.
Yeah, because they were saying the thing under Drakar Lake is going to be its own fight, and then they were talking about Bone Skinner as this separate. Like they showed different screenshots of, like there are different shots where one's a decaying.
I think
not screenshots, but concept art.
Like the Bone Skinner is, I think, supposed to be like the persistent antagonist for a large portion of the saga.
Like Joko?
With less puns. Yeah.
Well, we think.
His pun game could be a 1,000.
So they've been the Holbreck has been the primary city of the Norn for like 150 years.
But yeah, just regarding Bone Skinner and Drakar thing, they're both separate things.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I was surprised. I was like, but actually, if you look at when they're kneeling in front of that, I looked out the side of my eye. They did have a statue to it looked like wolf, so it looks like there maybe is representation by like the shrines of each of them, but maybe we only have a. But this could also be, how we were saying in the past, or they said that they wanted to try to use the same map, like add more to it. Maybe like this episode we get Raven Spirit, next time we'll get Wolf, Bear, and to just add more stuff to the, ways to traverse, or, whatever the case may be for this. But no, I just saw the corner of my eye that there was another statue looking thing behind when she starts kneeling at the shrine. But yeah, honestly, this is what I'm definitely curious about is, if we're just starting to tread into the old Norn lands, hopefully we're going to see past shrines of these lost spirits. And so, but I don't know. Any other thoughts on where the story could possibly go?
I
Yeah,
think it's.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that the use of the Raven Spirit. I don't know if it's actually just gonna be the bubble or it's gonna be, because it seems like it's going to protect it. Like you guys said, it's going to protect us from storms, but it seems like if that's going to be the case, we're going to be venturing more north from where the the prologue ended, because there was that storm that kicked in near the end where we couldn't follow, I believe, or it's because of the strike mission monster ice elemental came up, one of those two situations. So I wonder if it's going to be kind of like how in the desert there's like those random sandstorms. I think it's going to be kind of like that, but I don't know if there's going to be an event tied to it as well, because that would be kind of neat. Let's see.
Though Chad made me start thinking of, I don't think the spirits are going to go into Bram's head, but like, are we going to have a guardian revenant spirit? Like,
why not?
Are we just going to make everything a revenant by the end of the?
Yep.
But I do like the idea of, because Norn tradition is your worth is based off of your legend that you create. And yeah, what if by the end maybe Bram's legend becomes the guy that returned these lost spirits? Like, that would be a pretty crazy thing. But
right, QED Drakkar, the entity known as Drakkar is going to be the world boss in episode 1.
Right.
But they didn't say that that's also the Bone Skinner.
Yeah.
There's two different concept arts. That's not the same.
Yeah. Now, you could be right, and we could be entirely like off base here, but as far as we know right now, the Bone Skinner and the entity beneath Drakkar Lake are separate things. But, you know, as per usual, we won't know specifics until the actual episode releases.
Yeah, that only refers to Drakkar. Like, and then they went on to talk about Bone Skinner, like, or Pariah. Like, they definitely referred to those as two separate things. I don't think Bone Skinner's a world boss.
Bone Skinner's not a world boss. It's just
it's just like part of the story. That's all.
It as far as I know, since it doesn't seem like it's gonna talk. I mean, who knows? Since we're dealing with spirits of the wild, and
right.
But it almost feels like the same equivalence to Scarlet, where she wasn't a world boss of a zone. She was kind of manipulating things along the way, and I think this is going to be our reoccurring.
Yeah.
It might be thrown into a strike mission,
person.
but I don't know about that.
I would imagine if it's supposed to be some kind of constant villain, we might get a strike mission or it as a world boss farther on
eventually
in the living story, or it's just going to be a boss entity in a story instance.
Mm-hmm.
No.
But yeah, any other thoughts on that?
No, I'm just looking forward to it. This should be interesting. I dig like Nordic myth, which the Norn pull really hard on, and I also really enjoy Eldritch horror, and I'm happy to see like those two things being utilized here. So here we go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we shall see. November 19th, not too far away. Okay, yeah, like chat's saying, like you guys were saying, kind of messes with you along the story and might pop up in story missions and stuff like that. But another thing that came up throughout the week was, you know, everybody always, you know, dislikes the gem store. So a Reddit user, Build a World, made an image on Reddit kind of altering the look of the store if it was the actual like real life currency values of things, so you could see the price comparison. Now this is a couple weeks or a week ago, so it could be slightly off, but it'll probably still be roughly around there since gem prices vary. But at least with the gem to gold part that you're gonna see. But
But if it was
Yeah.
a straight up conversion, it probably wouldn't fluctuate as much. So actually, I don't
Yeah.
think it would fluctuate if you're just going to do straight up prices.
Well, I'm saying because they also show the different prices for basically how much you're getting for. I think the top one was like 700 gold, but so that part would fluctuate. But yeah, the stuff that you physically see in the gem store, that would always be a constant. But yeah, here's the image that they kind of pulled up, and I know another Reddit user, the Reddit user hyphen a underscore v hyphen pointed out that this concept that they utilize, and a lot of companies utilize, is called currency abstraction. And I remember people always not using that term, but people talking about it like with the Microsoft store for the longest time with Microsoft points. And I mean, it's a very common practice. I mean,
Yeah.
it is one of those things that allows you to disassociate yourself with how much it costs, like from a psychological standpoint.
Yep.
But I mean, I guess my question is, if you're looking at the image, I'm actually somewhat more okay with seeing the prices. Like I said, I still think build template stuff is a bit too much, or that pricing structure. But like looking at like when they said, because they refer to it as get credit, so it doesn't have the legalese of the money thing. They took it upon themselves, but at this time, $25 for 744 gold. I don't think that's bad in a free to play, buy to play, like a game that has this kind of market. Like I was like, that's actually surprisingly low.
It depends on your perspective, right? So,
well, I'm just saying from other free to play MMOs and buy to play MMOs I've played. If you could spend less than 1,000 gold for $25 of real life money, huh?
Is he just? Are we just gonna let him flex on us with that mug like that? I didn't know you had that.
Oh, I got this a while ago.
Aw, I want that mug.
It's on For Fans by Fans, I think.
Damn it!
I just got it when I was in Seattle, so
I have to wait until I can go buy things.
Right.
I don't know. Like I look at this and I say to myself, "This is what I do with every game." But then again, that's something I've trained myself to do, is to
and
look
that
at,
I do too. Yeah.
Right.
But and I agree with the rest of AV's points here, is that this is kind of the point of in-game like premium currencies, is the abstraction to kind of pull you away from real world dollars.
Yep.
Yeah.
League
of Legends does it really
better.
well.
Well, that's why, like, so we played Dauntless for a bit last night, and I was looking at buying something, and I literally made a point of saying how much money each thing was when I was thinking about it, because that was for me to really process how much I was willing to spend on it,
Oh, come on, say what you were looking at buying, because people would love to hear that, right?
I would.
Loadout slots, which are like build templates, right? So
yeah. Well, you can't buy those, unfortunately. Well, you can, but you can't. That's not what I was specifically looking at buying. But I was bitching about not having enough loadouts. But yeah.
But yeah, like, and I used that in the past where I talked about Dauntless, where I know they're a free-to-play game and they put out their cosmetics and stuff. And yeah, they're, we get armor sets for around 800 gems. Theirs, I think, start from like $10 to 15, 20, and some are in bundles that you have to pay $100 for. Like, it's, but yeah, it's.
I don't want to jump too much on this until we get to AV's next point, but like, I will say, Guild Wars 2 is one of the only games I have played that does have the ability to get the premium currency in game. I realize that everything is priced, like they do not price things in a vacuum. They know that Gold to Gems exists. Things are priced because that exists, and the system keeps people from doing that, because if everybody went Gold to Gems, the exchange rate would go bonkers real quick, and you would just have to pay astronomical amounts of gold for one gem. but I am legitimately not used to getting the opportunity to get as much premium currency as I can in Guild Wars 2 just by effort.
Right.
So it's still not great. I do agree that these currencies are manipulative, but
yeah, I
could be
remember
worse.
like when they first announced that they were going to have like the conversion thing back and forth type stuff, and so many people during like pre-launch and leading up to it thought that it's like, oh, I'll never have to. I'm like, they don't make it as a consumer friendly thing. It's consumer friendly in the sense of it gives you another option, but it's not like, oh, it's literally going to take me like I just completed the level 80 story. I clearly have enough to buy, $25 worth. No, you're not going to have that much. Like, it's not
Right.
designed to do that. That's why it's on that sliding scale. It's like, because if more people, like Jim's saying, just go all through in-game currency, it's going to lower that value. So, but I think it is still probably one of the better buy-to-play, free-to-play cash shops on in MMOs, currently. Or I mean, generalizing to just any like free-to-play, like, because I'm sure if I say MMOs, that really narrows it down. But
Yeah. I mean, even within MMOs, there's a wide variety of buy to play and free to play that their shops cover a wide range of good and terrible,
and are horribly priced, and those games are usually published by Perfect World Entertainment.
Oh,
I'm sorry, but there are some pretty pricey stuff for just. As someone that played Neverwinter Online, yeesh.
Yeah.
So AV's last point, and then I think we need to cue a rant from Age from last night.
I should know this because I wrote the notes.
But while you look at that, Mofang was saying this puts money to gold in the forefront and downplays the gold to gems efficacy. It essentially converts real money into yet another form of currency.
Oh, you mean the Apex Legend bit?
Oh no, I was good because I actually remember the problem with the Apex. Yeah, the Apex Legend bit is what I'm talking about for AV's second point from Reddit. Money to gold in the forefront and downplays the gold to gems of efficacy. Well, they're just replacing gems with dollars, USD. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think it's yeah.
So and saying real money is another currency. Well, it literally is a currency. Like the whole point of this is just to remove the abstraction.
Yeah.
Which like what I said at the start of the segment was basically like, I personally have trained myself to do that conversion with like the base value amount.
But see, I would also throw it out there, and
what are you doing?
Well, so many people are. I'm getting all the little bullet point plugs so we can put it on YouTube and get all the views. Right? That's how it works.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know how I joked around. Death Stranding was coming out, and it's a nice movie, but. I mean, average price for a movie, I think, in 2019, average price, of course, at least I think I looked it up earlier in the U.S., was around $9 or so. And that's for 2 hours of...
Depends on when you go, but yeah.
Well, and like I said, that's on average because you can go to, like, what is it, D-Box? Basically, like, the chairs that will vibrate with you. You can go to IMAX. You can make it like a $20 or $30 experience. And also, depending on where you live, you can see that doubled. But or halved depending on where you live. But I see this as a hobby thing. Like, if this is a hobby to you, I mean, throwing even $25 at it, I don't even think is that ridiculous, especially because I've known people that have hobbies where they go play hockey. If you're serious into hockey and your stick breaks, you're not replacing that stick for $25. Like why not? you're probably looking at maybe 100 for a middle, like, and probably even more if you're trying to be like, I want to have one like the pros that is like lightweight graphite, but it's, I don't know. It's just like, if you look at this as a hobby, I don't think the pricing's all that bad, but yeah, I don't know. It's just, I started looking at it like that. If you look at this, game as something you play for fun in your spare time, and
So
like,
I do want to talk about AV's last point, is that they brought up that ANET's format isn't horrible. Like, it's not the worst, like we've always said here. It's still, monetization. There's a certain level of predatory marketing to it, and I think everybody here agrees with that. But then we had Apex Legends as an example.
No, but people love that game. They can do no wrong.
$135 for an axe skin.
What?
Wait, what?
Yes, now they rectified it a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely rectified something. They put it right in your rectified.
So,
holy crap!
They released a battle pass that was obviously timed because battle pass.
Right.
You had to get every single skin, like every single thing in the battle pass, in order to unlock the ability to purchase the capstone skin.
Oh my god.
You could only get like either a quarter to 1/2 of, because you had to get special loot boxes for this battle pass. You could only get a quarter to 1/2 of them through gameplay, and you had to actually purchase the rest of them. So in order to get the final capstone item, you had to spend roughly $135.
So
I could get a good hockey stick for that.
you have to pay over $300 if you want to get everything.
So,
I mean, and we've had things like that where, what is it? The mounts were like, you get the whole bundle thing for, what was it? The first one was like 100 or something. So
for what?
It wasn't the first set of
licenses?
Mounts like in total 180?
For the stupid.
That is a good point Chat's making. You could get a real axe for that price. Like
a real axe for less.
You could get you could get a really fancy real axe for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you could probably get a custom build from an actual blacksmith that is sharpened and battle ready for something like that. But now
Amazon.
Now Age, are you gonna go into your prestige skin rant?
yeah, the thing that you were looking at.
I did yesterday.
Yeah, you did that last night.
Well,
I remember.
I think he's saying if you wanted to do it for the stream
for
to put
posterity.
Okay, yeah, hold on. I was looking at axes. So the most expensive axe I've seen on Amazon is
that's in your search history.
$189. And this is a $189. It's a 25-inch forest axe.
Well, you just went to Amazon, typed in axe, and then sorted by most expensive?
Well, I just looked at the first page. Oh. Like on average, it's like $20 to $40 for an
So
axe.
you can get what has this show turned into? But like, you can get loads of axes for that price.
Yeah, like $40.
Please don't do that. I mean, be safe. I don't know what to say on this one.
You gotta be ready for the zombie apocalypse sometime.
Yep.
Yeah, when the zombie apocalypse rolls around, your digital axe isn't going to save you. Spend that money on the real axe. I guess that's our message. I don't know.
Apparently, that is the message today.
Yeah.
Oh, and Chad is saying the axe in Apex Legends was more of a hatchet. So yeah, it's not even a cool looking like.
Well, the thing that killed it for me was that it was
Age is refining a search. Oh, okay, hatchets.
It was the melee weapon for one character. And it's like, in comparison, it is literally a hatchet, and I don't often see people use their melee weapon in Apex from some of the clips that I've seen. So you're paying $135 for a skin that you will rarely actually make use of in combat,
unless you actually play that character.
You have to both play that character and regularly melee.
What's the difference between a hatchet and an axe?
An
Hatchets
axe
are
is
small.
more like,
About $135 apparently, according to Apex Legends.
yeah.
Like, does it
hatchet
have
is
a
like,
longer handle or something?
yeah. When you hear axe, think of like Vikings and lumberjacks. When
Mhm.
you hear hatchet, you
It's like
think
a
of
one-handed.
like
Okay.
the difference is like one-handed and two-handed, basically.
Okay. All right. Learning, yay!
That's totally not like it's very lacking nuance.
Yeah, that's a very
entirely, but,
rudimentary.
like,
So if we get like all the people from like all those YouTube channels
Lumberjacks
that are like,
Incorporated. You guys got it wrong.
it's like all the lumberjacks come out in the
yeah,
comments.
chat saying hatchet is a hand tool. So
Ooh, axe.
All right.
anyway,
So
okay, yeah. Do
Wait,
you want to
do
tell
you
your
want the
League of
rant?
Legends story?
So this is a League of Legends story about one battle pass, and this is probably goes for all battle passes, to be honest, and how much of a scam they are. So
This isn't going to be bias or anything.
no. So in League of Legends, there's a character named Macaulay. She is a assassin type of character. She's my main. I've played her since like she came out. It's fun. And they had League of Legends has prestige edition skins every now and then where there's like a different effect color scheme to a skin. And last year, late last year, they had a prestige Akali skin for their KDA line. And I wanted it because I have every Akali skin right now, and I want to keep that trend going. So I bought the battle pass in an attempt to get the points needed to get this skin. Now the problem is that I work and I do the show and all this stuff. So
Oh, don't add the show to this as it's our fault now.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. Basically, I'm a busy person, and so as much as I play League of Legends, I don't have the time to play it all the time. And it came to that realization is that I couldn't use the battle pass effectively in order to get the points needed to get this skin. So in order to get the skin, I had to buy the loot boxes, or as they like to call them, orbs, in League of Legends, in order to get enough currency in order to buy said skin. And then I came to the realization of the battle pass is good for people who play League of Legends a lot. Like, I mean, I did some math and you had to put in hours. You had to put in like at least 4 to 6 hours a day during the week, and then you have to play a lot on the weekends. But if you are busy, that means you probably work, which means you make money. So if you don't have the time to play League of Legends, you can use your hard-earned cash to buy the things that you want. And so that's, and I realized that not only with League of Legends, I got burned with that because I'm never doing that again, but I also realized this is what happens with other battle passes, because in Fortnite, you can actually buy levels. I think in Apex Legends, you can also buy levels. So
You can do that in Dauntless too.
See, there you go. So this is a type of currency extraction that I don't think a lot of people realize over time. Maybe they realize it once they use a battle pass, but like,
I guess
very
my
tricky.
question is, because I've always heard it, I usually watch like the Rooster Teeth podcast, and like a lot of them spend a lot of time in working and stuff, and like and some of them do have that idea, especially when it's a skin or something, not like a thing that increases your stats or anything like that. If it's a cosmetic, is it such a bad thing for a person that has the money to offset their time because they decided to put their time into their job or something else that was earn them the money so they could do that?
I'd like to keep my job. No, but that's the thing. I think it's good that the battle pass is cost effective, but you have to sink in so many hours to actually get the one thing. And there are other stuff that you can get with those points. like chromas if you're into that, emotes, things. But if you wanted to get that specific skin, you'd have to sink a ton of hours, like inhumanely. You would have to be like a student, literally at best.
The problem I have, and this is, we're talking more about what game companies think about our time, is that every single game is trying to be the only game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they all, the way they think about it, or not developers necessarily, but the people behind the scenes who
The
are
marketing
driving the
team.
ship.
The pyramid scheme.
Yeah. The way they think of it is the more time you spend in the game, the more likely you'll be willing to spend more money in that game. Like, because you have enough of an investment. So every game is trying to come up with mechanics and things and ways to keep you in playing the game as much as possible, so you will then spend more money in the game.
Yeah. So, for example, in League of Legends, I have spent over the past, what is it, 9 years now? Jeez. Well, it's 10-year anniversary, but like I've played like a couple months after, so I'll say 9. I've spent like probably well over $2,000 in League of Legends.
That website that you could track the amount you put in the game gone?
It's probably in their support pages. I'm pretty sure it's well over 2K. For that battle pass stuff, I spent a good fraction of the amount I spent over the years just for that skin.
Mm-hmm.
That is not good.
Yeah.
And and this is a huge topic. Like, I don't even know if we want to, just because of the show itself, but like chat's even bring up FOMO, like the fear of missing out, type thing with the skins, like limited time, and like we talked about in the past with Gem Store, where it's like this thing's only up for 24 more hours. It's like, it's not like they're like there's no physical inventory where they're like, we're burning this afterwards. Like, it's just, but
can't take the chance, Dale.
Yeah.
KDA Akali skin. I have to have it.
Clearly, you know who it is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Any other thoughts on this currency thing?
Currency abstraction's been a thing for a long time.
Like I said, I talked about the Microsoft points, which was 2001 or 2 or something when Microsoft actually came out. Like, and it's definitely before that too. Like, I'm not saying that Microsoft founded this concept.
Yeah, I know. It's just interesting how people have brought it up now. It's like, haven't you been converting things? Like, it seems like all of us have, but it just seems to me that it's very odd that people haven't. But yeah, that's my only point, really.
I mean, in a small way. I mean, I don't know how it works anywhere else, but I know around here for public transport, a nice way to make it easier on yourself and pay a little bit less, you put it on the bus pass card, or it can go bus pass, subway, whatever, so you can tap it and stuff. And it's one of those other systems where it makes you detach yourself from the how much money you're spending.
Yeah, it's the same thing with tolls on the roads and the easy passes that you get, so that you don't have to physically be handing somebody money. It just comes out automatically, and it makes it less real at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the credit cards too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this definitely isn't a new concept.
I was gonna say I am weird about all of that, because I went through such an extended period of time that, with that being really poor, that if I don't have physical money, I just feel like I don't have any money at all. So like using the plastic and stuff doesn't work, because since I have no physical money, I don't feel like I have money. It's weird.
I did that by getting paid monthly.
Yeah, that's a big shift.
But any other thoughts on the currency abstraction? I mean, like I said, this could be a bigger topic that's not even contained to just Guild Wars 2 itself. So
yeah, it's all of gaming.
But you know, the biggest thing is I think you got to find a good balance of things. Like, don't just throw your money at it. Like you said, you were saying for people that don't have money and are still, you got to find that balance.
Don't use my thing against me.
What?
Too late. You already did it.
Well, but the good thing is this part is contained only to Guild Wars 2 because it's the upcoming balance changes. And it's mostly looking at like where we were on PvP. We were talking last week of some more that the dev teams were kind of moved around and stuff like that. And now we have people dedicated working on World v World and PvP balance change, and that it's going to be looked at separately and not just how we've had in the past, kind of all lumped together. And you know, as PvE gets buffed or nerfed, it's now affecting this. So hopefully, I think we said it last week. Hopefully, leading up to this is a good thing and will be better balance for World v World and PvP. Which, as we look at this, I know a lot of people that were kind of happy about this, which is rare for a balance change. Like a lot of people liked the things that were brought up, but you know, they talked about nerfing only Scourge will result in boons and cleanses being too strong while not to do the proposed PvP splits in World v World as well for the sake of roamers. But I guess that is a good point to look at it. If you're just nerfing only the Scourge, it's once again that weird balance that if you're just attacking the one topic, you're going to possibly throw the other things out of whack, which... But,
Scourge is the only thing keeping boons in check, so...
Yeah.
Wait, I thought aren't there other things that can, like, corrupt or...
Strip? Yes, I think a lot of Mesmer, because I know Mesmer Greatsword 3 is a boon strip, but I don't think anything else has the level of power in that respect that Scourge has.
Okay.
But
the whole chasing their tails point is...
Yeah, as I said, they kind of go further into, like, basically nerfing Scourge and stuff like that. And like you said, they feel like, as an example, they said if they nerf Scourge, then maybe they need to nerf boons and cleanses. Then maybe they need to nerf conditions and corrupts. And,
right.
You know, on and on we get, you know, so... I'll be right back.
This announcement from Deo's dog. Okay, so the alternative is to just make no changes until a future update is ready, which they don't think is the right thing to do. We know Scourge is a problem, so they're going to make an adjustment in short term, which I think this was to the reduced target cap of the one big shade thing. Like, that's what they did. Let's see here. It looks like PvP changes are targeted specifically for overperforming builds. Specifically for roaming, there's nothing that is as egregious. For now, we're trying to balancing things around existing power levels while we look ahead to be addressing the issue that is existing power level. If we brought PvP changes to WvW, we would probably need to do additional changes to a bunch of roaming builds. Yeah. I mean, honestly, the idea that like PvP and WvW can be similarly balanced, but I don't think they can be balanced exactly the same.
No.
It was actually QED, if you're still here, that conversation we had this morning in Discord is going to come up right now, because if you guys don't have any other talks about that, there's an interesting big change coming up.
None.
Okay. They're getting rid of falling damage traits.
Oh, right.
Or rather, they're just getting rid of the reduced falling damage functionality.
Right.
There's an and. They're also getting rid of passive revive speed buffs. Which, fall damage, the points they make is that it was useful at launch, but it doesn't matter as much in a post-gliding / mount world. And at the moment, there is a thing that seems like fall damages were only taken for the bonus effect, which I'll admit, I only really started considering fall damage traits once they either were just tacked on, like say Warrior's Peak Performance, where it was the buff to
Mhm.
physical skills.
Right.
And then a bunch of other professions had it where your fall damage thing would also proc on heal skill.
Yeah. I honestly only ever took it on my ranger when we were doing that one jumping puzzle in Lion's Arch where you had to jump down
Yeah.
so I wouldn't die. That's outside
Oh,
of that. I
Shark
don't
Maw?
think I've used it. Yeah.
Yeah. That just reminds me, I actually nailed the jump in one go recently when I
Nice.
had to do the jumping puzzle. I was shocked. But
Yay.
that's one of the things that I seem to see is that QED was telling me that there are some niche uses for fall damage traits in PvP maps,
Mhm.
but it's mostly that, jumping puzzles, and WvW.
Right.
Which there were some complaints from WvW in another post that was made on, I think in the same thread, but they understand the concern about world versus world,
Mhm.
but they want to remove the fall damage traits and then see how things go from there, and then if necessary add something back in, which I was honestly sitting there thinking about is like, if fall damage is such a big deal for WvW, why not put in a WvW like point line, because it seems that it's such a big deal for world versus world, just bake it into that section of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, so it basically doesn't have to clog up another, you know.
Then I definitely understand them not wanting to just keep tacking fall damage onto traits, because it really takes up design space.
Mm-hmm.
It's the reason I complain about Shortbow 5 on Thieves all the time is like, Shortbow 5 is so strong that the rest of Shortbow is boring.
Mm-hmm.
So that's me there. But the second bit is passive revive traits. If you want to, do you want me to keep going, Dale, or do you want to take back over?
I mean, I don't even know where we at.
Well,
Passive revive traits.
right where you clicked in the show notes, actually.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good job.
Done good.
Even my mind was already thinking. Yeah, so they said regarding revival traits, they wanted to focus more of that power onto active revival rather than simply increase the speed of press F to revive. They do like how revival traits like Necromancer's Transfusion and Elementalist Arcane Resurrection actively tap into existing skills and augment them. So they added similar functionality to a few other revival traits when they removed the revival speed increase. So, which I mean, we'll probably talk about as we go through them. But
I'm okay with this, because what was tactics for Warrior before they did the whole tactics redesign? All of the passives were focused around reviving, right?
mm-hmm.
Because it was like, it's like you revive faster, you gain toughness while reviving, and then the other one was, I think the Grandmaster was, people you revive come back with more health. Like
something like, yeah.
Warrior was like the number one worst offender for just, here are revive traits, which they fixed, thankfully. But I mean, I like the idea that it's going to be a more active thing. So,
Which, I mean, we're going to go through each of them real quick. So, Elementalist, they're looking at Arcane Abatement, removed fall damage functionality from this tray, renamed it to Arcane Restoration. Glyph of Renewal, reduced recharge to 90 seconds in all game modes, lowered cast time from 3.25 seconds to 2 seconds. And then Arcane Resurrection, this trait no longer increases revival speed. Auras granted by this trait are now granted only to the elementals at the start of a revival attempt rather than at the end, and the effect has a 20-second cooldown.
Isn't that the one that summons the Arcane Resurrection? Is the one that gives the Water Staff 3 when you start reviving someone, I think. And then it also, because it lets Water Staff 3 revive. It also auto casts one with its own cooldown when you start reviving someone. So you can Water Staff 3, then start reviving someone, and you like power res someone. So
if we want to go down the rabbit hole of what Rift did, oh man.
I'm just saying that, like,
No. I mean, I like some like once again, I had a caster that could conjure weapons and use them actually as weapons and not temporarily, like for 5 seconds. And I threw one on the ground. But yeah, once again, that's a rabbit hole. But fitting that we're on engineer, or sorry, elementalist, and I brought it up on because I want my conjurer build.
it's okay, Dale. It'll be okay.
Yeah, those changes don't really affect me at all. So
It's well, it's one of
well, they
those
don't
things.
really affect me either because it's in PvP.
Well, no, this is the fall damage reduction and the removal of the revive speed. It's everywhere. Like, this is a full game thing.
Okay.
but I mean, it's just not a build, parts of the build that I really used at all. So
and like Jim was saying earlier, that it is more predominant, even though it's across the board, it is a more predominant thing in like World v World and stuff like that. So, but also for engineer, Grenadier. Removed fall damage functionality from this trait. Additionally, this trait now casts a lesser grenade barrage on your location when using a healing skill. And Toss Elixir R. This skill no longer removes one condition when thrown. Increase projectile speed by 25%. The projectile thrown by this skill is now unblockable. And they also fixed an issue where the land and water versions of this skill moved at different speeds.
That's a weird bug. But then again, I suppose they are effectively different skills between land and water, just because of the water functionality recodes. Although I think Toss Elixir R does revive, like it chunks people up if they're downed. I suppose that would be kind of sad if somebody just put up some kind of reflector projectile block and you were just kind of like, and you waste the cooldown against nothing, and it's just like, I mean, I suppose that's technically the counterplay, is to throw a projectile block, but like when it literally makes the skill useless, I guess I don't mind the unblockable. No, do not pour grenadine in everything, Arlie. That's gross.
Well, I was gonna say, I was like, well, I mean, and we were also talking about elixirs, that maybe that's the the trajectory for them. It's like you have an elixir build that throws grenadine.
There you go.
Everything.
Yeah.
Woo! Can never go wrong.
It's a stun where your character just goes, ugh. But also some changes to the Guardian. Protector's Impact removed fall damage functionality from the trait and renamed it to Protector's Restoration. Also, Signet of Mercy reduced recharge to 90 seconds in all game modes. Changed passive effect from granting 180 healing power, which is 216 when traded, to granting 120 concentration, which will be 150 when traded. And Protective Reviver. This trait no longer increases revival speed and no longer grants boons on a successful revival. They fixed the skill fact to show correct 3-second duration and fixed the bug which prevented the recharge of Lesser Shield of Absorption from being affected by Stalwart Defender. Also, Lesser Shield of Absorption now heals nearby allies when it ends, and this trait now causes all versions of Shield of Absorption to revive allies by 15% when it detonates. And also, last thing for the Guardian, Courageous Return. This trait has been reworked and it has been renamed to Stalwart Courage. It grants the Guardian protection for 3 seconds in PvE and 1 second in PvP/World v World whenever Aegis on the Guardian is removed due to blocking an attack.
That's huge, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
That is a truly ridiculous amount of protection. Come on, work with me here. Sorry, I'm trying to get Guild Wars 2, the skills editor, to function. Oh, right, I have to pick a class first. Derp. So the quickness firebrand, focuses on pumping out a lot of quickness, and also it ends up putting out a lot of Aegis as well. You're just gonna have an awful lot of.
Now, like you said, it's bringing back a lot of protection. Are you worried that this might be a new rise into the bunker builds? Like,
well, that's why they made it only 1 second of protection in PvP and WvW.
Okay.
Well, that and courageous, like that's a passive. That's the master tier minor trait.
Mm-hmm.
Courageous return. So that's just if you slot Valor, you get that effect. So that's pretty big. And I know I end up with a lot of Aegis, so no, Arlie, you cannot splash people with cherry syrup all the time. But yeah,
Bring
that's
all the fun.
That's gonna be a big deal. I don't even know what Protective Reviver is because I never used it.
Yeah.
I think that's in, I want to say Honor. Yes, Honor. That's the Shield of Absorption is the like impassable bubble. So that's going to be an interesting one.
Well, I mean, you guys were talking in chat about throwing cherry flavored syrup on people, and like you said, you wouldn't want that. So, as the amateur armchair developer, I'll meet you guys halfway in between. You throw it, but it applies confusion because it's an illusion. It didn't really happen, so you're confused.
Did you really?
Which, speaking of confusion,
did you just mid topic point segue?
Yes, to the Mesmer, which would be perfect for confusion and illusions.
I'm confused.
And it works because it's the Mesmer's turn. And some of the changes that they're looking at for the Mesmer is Descent into Madness. Removed fall damage functionality from this trait, renamed it to Method of Madness. Oh man, I want to see some good mom builds. Medic's feedback. This trait no longer increases revival speed. It now causes feedback to revive allies inside it by 5% per second. That's pretty interesting.
Feedback is staff 5, I believe. Where's Mesmer? Slot of staff.
Yeah, because it puts that field down.
No, that's Chaos Storm. My bad.
Oh.
No, that's the AoE dome skill.
Yeah, Chaos Storm is the.
No, Chaos Storm is the flat staff 5 where you place a circle.
Feedback is a glamour.
Feedback is the bubble.
Yeah.
So anyone inside that can remember, which is actually pretty nice.
Yeah, feedback is the reflect dome. Which that's a 6 seconds, so that's 30% revive. I don't know if this lesser feedback is going to be the same duration, but because normally when Medic's feedback, that's what inspiration is, all the healing lines. Medic's feedback, yeah, cast feedback when reviving an ally. So it's just normal feedback. It's not a lesser version. So that's, if you double feedback, that's 60% of a revive over 6 seconds.
Yeah, I mean,
you could basically revive someone by themselves.
Yeah. Which, I mean,
and
Mesmer needs a little bit of love. Yeah. Oh yeah, forgot about that.
No, they don't. No, they don't need it.
Well,
don't.
But yeah, I mean, any other thoughts on the Mesmer? But like you said, it could almost bring someone back to life on themselves, which is BS because that's the Necromancer's job. And the Necromancer's seen some changes. The Terrifying Descent, this trait has been reworked. It has been renamed to Insidious Disruption. Ooh. It now causes control effects to inflict torment on foes, and also Signet of Undeath, reduced recharge to 75 seconds in all game modes, reduced cast time from 3 seconds to 1.5 seconds, and reduced number of allies revived from 3 to 1, and added an additional health cost of 50% of base health to this skill, and increased the passive life force gain by 100%.
Are fears considered control effects?
Anything that causes loss of character
Okay.
or loss of character control.
I know, that was funny though. But that's pretty awesome, because also specifically like with fear causes you to run, and torment, if I recall correctly, does more damage when you move.
Yep.
So
Triple damage while moving.
yeah, it's a pretty nice change actually.
Revive one target area ally in a downed area. That's cool. That's a cool change. And then I think I saw another post in that thread where it's the life force tick while in combat from Signet on Death is like 6 or 8% life force per 3 seconds passively, which is pretty solid, I would say. I'd imagine that's pretty good for Scourge, because your life force is more of a resource meter than like the HP of Shroud. So
yeah, definitely.
I'll admit, I really appreciate, just in a general sense, like them fixing all of these like revive ally skills, because I literally forgot a lot of them existed for the longest time.
But yeah, it's nice to. I'm curious to see how it'll work and how people will utilize them in WvW and stuff like that. But apologies for my dog barking. I know if I apologize here, I'd have to apologize all the time. I just wish I was more in tune with the dog, maybe in nature, some bait me beast mastery. Which, speaking of that, the ranger maybe be able to help me out with that. I'm proud of that one. The skills that are changing for that one: soften the fall, remove fall damage functionality from this trait, renamed it to Child of Earth, and also Allies Aid. This trait no longer increases revival speed. They reduce the cooldown of this trait from 85 seconds to 60 seconds, and fix the bug which caused the version of search and rescue associated with this trait to be considered a shout skill instead of a command. So I wasn't even aware that was, yeah.
Good to assume that's Beast Mastery. It is not. Allies Aid. Your revive speed increase. Cast search and rescue when you begin. Okay, so you just get an auto search and rescue.
But yeah, kind of like the other ones. Nice, like you said, changes to the res skills. Also, we got Revenant, Planar Protection, remove the fall damage functionality from the trait. Also, Thief, Uncatchable, removed fall damage functionality from the trait as well. I mean,
not much to talk about there.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Warrior, peak performance, removed fall damage functionality from the trait. Also, reduced condition damage bonus from 20% to 15% in PvE, and 10% to 7% in competitive modes. And it now grants 5% bonus damage baseline in PvE and 3% bonus damage in competitive modes.
I mean,
5%. Well, 5% bonus damage. That's
just for taking peak performance, and then you get the buff from using a physical skill. So
that's cool. Wow.
Yeah. Like, I suppose that's definitely there for the flavor of the trait. I honestly, so QED was coaching me through a core warrior build that he threw together that honestly is a shit ton of fun. But I never knew that while in Rampage, all of the skills of the transform are technically physical skills. So you permanently keep the peak performance buff up while in Rampage.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Yeah. But yeah, for PvE, it's just like, here, have 5% damage on a trait that on a trait line that.
I'll say, you running that in PvE or
that's
or
a PvP. That's PvP build.
Okay.
But the problem there, God damn it, is it strength? Yeah, it's strength. There's no real competition in the adept tier for warrior now. because Brave Stride, your first hit when entering combat gives you stability. It's just 1 stack of stability. Restorative Strength, you use a heal skill and you get might. Maybe good if you're playing like Berserker and you want to spam the Berserker heal skill, but Peak Performance, here's a 5% damage buff and a reduction on physical skills, which are all very solid skills. Because basically almost every warrior build I look at, even ones that are like Berserker ones, is like, use Heal Signet. Don't ever touch the button. Use Heal Signet. So they really need to do something about that tier 1 strength setup, because it's just not. They basically just made Peak Performance the best in slot for that, for pretty much everything. I love the changes to Peak Performance, just the rest of it needs fixed.
But any other thoughts on any warrior or any of the slight balance changes? Like I said, it's not a thorough one. It looks like, which is nice. It's like they're looking at one specific problem and addressing it across the board and not trying to do everything at once. It's changing like multiple things. So
yeah, I'm just in general with the fall damage thing. I'm honestly waiting for them to look at everything and be like, okay, here's your fall damage trait, your fall damage WvW point line. So yeah, I know QED, like the lack of the fall damage trait, it's going to be different since it was something that was just in the game for a while, but I kind of appreciate the fact that they're like, yes, we understand this is a problem and we'll keep an eye on it. So at least they're vocalizing that. Excuse me.
But like you said, you were trying a warrior build that QED recommended to you and for PvP. So were you possibly tempted to maybe take it into like the big leagues of PvP, like maybe a monthly automated tournament?
No.
I'd have to have a team, and if I can't have the best person at PvP with me,
right.
like
Deo.
For the audio listeners, I was looking around like there was someone behind me. Anyway, but funny enough, speaking of monthly automated tournaments, they're actually going through a period of ramp up, which means basically, you know how we talked about in the past couple months where it was like, oh, automated tournament got canceled, automated tournament, like they pushed it to this one, like, and that kind of became a issue where they were just totally missing out on some, but they're not saying like, hey, there was issues and we're going to stick to still once a month type thing, which they're willing to play catch up, which I'm glad that they're doing that. I mean, but they basically said the next monthly tournament will be on November 16th. And basically the current plan will be to run the automated tournaments every 2 weeks until they're caught up. At that pace, they should be all caught up by the end of November, at which point they'll go back to the normal monthly schedule of the 4th Saturday of every month. So
it's I really appreciate the fact that they're not just saying, okay, we fixed it, we're going back to the monthly schedule.
I was gonna say, and yeah, I would give them credit, because so many games will do that where it's like, yeah, we had bugs and issues that delay, like, especially since it is a reoccurring thing. And because if it was like a holiday festival or something like that, you know, where it's a once a year thing, people will probably be like, okay, we'll extend it because you didn't have a chance to play it. But usually with stuff like this where it's like, well, just catch the next month, like, what's the big deal? But I'm glad that they're showing at least that small, like that level of care for PvP, of taking it, I would say, a little bit more seriously. But any thoughts on the catch-up automated tournaments?
Yay.
That's good.
Yeah. Also, I know we talked about it last week, and we talked a little bit for a pre-show. Basically, a lot of people's opinions are getting popping up about the Guild Wars 2 partnerships with other companies, and this is on the back of the Quiznos deal thing that they did. But yeah, a Reddit user Evangader basically was among a good bit of people that didn't like the Quiznos partnership due to the one reason, the sparsity of locations. We were even talking about that beforehand.
Right.
And they gave some suggestions on what they would like to see regarding promoting the game. And for people that don't know, I know we talked about last week, if you go into participating Quiznos, which seems like that's the hardest part of this,
Mm-hmm.
finding the participating Quiznos
Yeah.
on top of finding the Quiznos.
Yeah.
Look, it's like a rare drop. It's like you find the participating Quiznos, it's like a legendary.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're just reminding me of the amount of time it took me to get a spirit beast on my hunter in World of Warcraft, and I don't like being reminded of that.
Well,
Oh, you'll hate me if I do that. One of our friends in WoW was constantly trying to find that white cat one.
Uh-huh.
And one day he was still waiting for it. He wasn't on. My buddy was like, "Hey, that cat is out here." And I was like, "Let me hop on my hunter, my alt hunter." What, like, never
Oh
really
my
used it.
god, you asshole.
What? He wasn't on. We were like, "Oh, he's not on," but anyway.
So then you just show up on your alt hunter next to your friend when he logs in.
Oh
He's like,
yeah,
"Hey,
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got
definitely.
I totally got a new pet.
Yeah, I purposely brought him to like our next like guild event thing, and they're like, "Wow, you bring your hunter?" I'm like, "Yeah." As my friend that told me about it was like chuckling.
I shake my head at you.
But yeah, definitely wasn't a fan of that. But
I think QED has a good point. Like, that really only Quiznos benefited out of this deal, I think. Because like you talked about, finding a Quiznos and then finding a Quiznos that was participating. But everybody that's looking at Guild Wars 2, like, it's 100% more Guild Wars 2 players that are looking for Quiznos.
Right.
So
yeah,
honestly, I look at a lot of these things where I don't think any of these deals, I feel like it's not going to get casual customers of a food chain.
you might
become
get
fans
some,
and or players,
but not
Right.
enough to make it worth it.
Well,
Right.
that's what I was just wondering. I was like, I wonder if like Quiznos paid a fee to ArenaNet to partner with them for this or something, like.
I wonder. I really do, because that would make more sense than
Honestly, I think it was a tweet they had this week where they're like, they promoted and they're like, yeah, you can get like this bundle thing while snacking on like their new blah 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 sandwich. Really made it feel like when you see a YouTuber doing a hashtag ad thing where it's like,
Yeah.
I really love this type of product with its great insert features on their page. Like,
my name's Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
Yes.
yeah, so it definitely does feel like it was, and like chat saying, more beneficial for Quiznos in this sense than for getting new people into Guild Wars 2.
Mm-hmm.
But and some people have recommended, I know we recommended some of this stuff in the past, but they recommended a point system,
Yeah.
which
Which you know how giveaways they do, and they're
Oh.
like, every time you retweet, you
Oh,
post this
okay.
on Instagram, all that, you get a point.
I hate
or an
those, but
entry.
okay.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Because really, all it does is fill up people's feeds with the
Garbage.
competition stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. and
Yeah, at that point, why don't you just pay
Crazy.
Twitter to promote the tweet and they can hate it equally?
Right.
See, the problem is if I get a promoted tweet on my Twitter feed, it's like, I don't like this ad.
Yep. I get some really weird ones now.
Yes, because it really throws off the algorithm when you tell it you don't like to see ads, period.
Yes.
I get it on Facebook. Like,
Well,
Facebook.
and Chad is talking about the Alienware deal, which I think just popped up yesterday, which we can quickly talk about. And then we'll talk more about other people's suggestions, which if you want to participate in the Alienware deal, they've teamed up with Alienware to give you a chance to win some pretty cool prizes. The grand prize is an Alienware 25-inch gaming monitor and a copy of Guild Wars 2 Path of Fire Ultimate Edition. They're also giving away 10 copies of Guild Wars 2 Path of Fire Standard Edition. You basically go to Alienware's Gleam thing, which we're talking about.
I couldn't remember what the.
Yeah, then there's multiple ones like that, but yeah, I know Gleam's like the one usually a lot of people go to, but
Yep.
It involves doing that kind of stuff where it's like if you want an entry for tweeting us is 5 entries, and this is
Yep.
So if you so inclined to do that, I mean, links will be in the description if you want to maybe win a gaming monitor. But yeah. So are any of you gonna try to enter?
Not really.
If I see you retweet the tweet or something.
I will say that Alienware is no longer laughable in their hardware that they sell.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Because there was a period shortly after they were acquired by Dell that they were. It was you know how people say that you buy Apple products and you're paying most like at least 20 to 25% is for the label.
Oh yeah.
Like Alienware was
And that's
like 50.
Mm-hmm.
Like Alienware was like, yeah, and you're basically selling information to them in order to get something, to maybe get something from them. But Alienware now is actual decent tech that isn't just cribbing off of a name and fancy towers. They have really fancy towers, but it's not just, a brand and fancy towers.
It's not a really expensive, basically holiday tree. It's like just blinking and stuff.
Yeah. To be honest, they have one of these cases that kind of looks like a turbine. And I legitimately wanted to like turn all the fans on the front to blow outward and then all of the case fans to suck inward so that all of the heat from your computer would get shot forward. And then, in the winter, you have a heater in your room when you're on your computer.
Nice.
I was gonna say you could like roast marshmallows. Like
that would be really
s'mores.
That would be.
I don't know. I don't want fire near my computer as much as
Well,
possible.
it doesn't need to be fire, just
It
the
has to be
heat
hot
from it.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, get on that Alienware and send us all send us the release one, not a demo, because I once again don't want anything that hot near my computer.
Yeah. What
but I would
Mafunga
like a
said
s'more.
is their
I mean,
actual
come on.
halfway decent tech now.
Yeah, and like you're saying, like that's what chat's saying is basically Dell bought Alienware for the name alone, and it was basically just Dell product with the Alienware sticker on it.
Yep.
But like you're saying, it's a lot better now. So, but all right. Yeah, I did not know it got better because I've always heard that. I've always remembered that, and every time I see Alienware, I'm like, eh.
Yeah. No, I get it. I definitely get it.
But maybe I'll actually have to start looking at that stuff if there's ever a good deal on something. Like maybe this. But like Chad is saying, and I think we've always said in the past, is if you're getting something, if you're getting something for free, you're the product. Like they're like Chad's saying, you're giving your personal information for a chance to win. So yes, be careful with everything if you're
or you could
wanting
just make
to enter this.
Like you make a burner account. Like you make a burner guild, like a burner Gmail account that's just for all of your entries to contests. And then you just tie like a burner Twitter account, a burner Insta account, and then you just shove everything over into that one so you don't get spammed.
This is the world we're living in is.
Yeah.
It's either that or you maintain your spam filters. And then, all of their marketing to actually, send you stuff doesn't mean anything because it all goes into the trash anyway and you never see it.
Just like the regular mail. Until that was up until people stopped using the actual mail as well. They're like, well, this is pointless. Yeah, like chat saying, so many people got aliases and dummy accounts and.
Oh, that's going to be a huge headache coming up for me next week. We're changing spam filters at work, so I'm losing all of my old spam filter stuff.
That'll be fun. You're going to see so many things popping up that were forgotten about. They're like the elder dragons of email.
Jesus. Yeah, but there's more than 6 of them.
Yeah, but those are all the minions. Anyway, but like we talked about with the contest and stuff, but some of the other things people had ideas about, and I mean, they suggested a point system. We got one. Enjoy. I'm not gonna be a part of it because, like I said, I've never been a fan of those. It just seems like too much work and too much shilling for it. Which, granted, I mean, they're giving you a 25-inch, a chance at a 25-inch monitor, but
Right.
yeah, it's never. But some of the other ones suggested were referencing systems, and I know you see this constantly. It's refer friends, or another system that I've seen utilized is, you know, if you get someone into the game and they use your code, this is kind of attached to a refer friend. When they buy, in this case, gems, you get gems or some kind of compensation. Like, you're basically creating a pyramid scheme. It kind of goes full circle. But that one thing that always annoyed me about refer friends was, as someone like with MMOs, because I don't know, it seems like MMOs really like to do it a lot more just because it's constant. If they have a sub or something, constant intake or something. But they all, like, I usually play a game when it launches, and if I'm enjoying it, I just naturally tell my friends, and then they come out with the refer a friend system. I'm like, and of course they don't go, oh, we can, you know, we'll do if you attach your previous friends and it'll count retroactively. No, it's like, no, you gotta find. I don't have that many friends, people. I mean, come on. But chat saying refer a friend would be good if you were that person who had 60 accounts that got banned recently. Yeah. Or heck, with everybody that has so many alt accounts, maybe you could just refer yourself. Like, you know, everybody has their daily login account things, but yeah, that's, you know, one system that I don't think we've really talked about too much was like a refer a friend system. But I know one of the other ones we've talked about many times was the Twitch drops, and I mean, I don't know if we have to really rehash all the stuff that we've talked about loads of times in the past. I mean, we wish there would be Twitch drops, and I mean, it's funny that they also brought up YouTube raffles, but I also looked it up because I was curious. Like, YouTube also has a drop feature, so it's like, it doesn't have to be exclusively Twitch. It could be Twitch and YouTube. Granted, I don't know how the ins and outs of, you know, how they work behind the scenes, but supposedly they also have that system where if someone's watching and things are linked or whatever, it can reward them. But also YouTube raffles, basically giving so many codes away to a, you know, prevalent YouTuber, streamer, you know, whatever. It doesn't have to be, I guess, YouTube really, but they tell them to give those codes away however they want, and they could do a contest or something like that. But I don't know. Do you think that would really work? I mean, honestly, go ahead.
League of Legends has been doing that with a lot of their content creators, specifically with the green chroma. Chroma in League of Legends is basically a recolor of a specific skin. They have basically designated the green chroma to be the, like, Twitch streamer only one. So they'll give the Twitch streamers or YouTubers or something a code, and it's for, you'll get the skin, the base skin with the base colors plus the green chroma on top of it. So if somebody sees you using that skin, it's because you won it or it was given to you.
And Chad is a little bit ahead of me because I was just about to say this after you were done giving that example. Was it feels like they kind of did that with the Arena outfit code. Now, granted, they did it more of a general stance because they even utilized it, but that seems like that was one people's worry, was like, can you only get it at PAX Prime during this event?
Right.
And, you know, during the stream, and apparently they're utilizing it as like, this is going to like the streamers and content creators. So, I mean, granted, it's not the most insanely crazy, awesome, epic skin or something, but you know, I think they are utilizing that avenue. I'm curious if they're looking at how much success, but I'm also slightly worried that, you know, it might, if it looks like it doesn't have that much success, is probably because it's not really a great $200 on eBay. I gotta start going to people's streams to get those things.
Right.
Holy crap!
Wait, people are selling Aurene outfit codes for $200.
And I don't recommend that because that's probably against terms of service. It was a joke.
Mm-hmm.
But geez, I might have a full-time job.
An outfit code for $200?
Yeah, a professional stream watcher.
Jesus. No, thank
Especially
you.
that one.
I mean, I don't have any problem with the outfit if you like Aurene that much, but like $200, goddamn.
Well, I mean, for a free code, I think it's fine. $200, but the look of it is a little lackluster in the sense of, it's just someone in the standard cargo shorts that you see in every other.
I
Like,
see what.
you muted yourself, or Arena got to you. What was it? Are you blinking once for yes or Arena? Like,
No.
Can hear you.
yeah, it's basically just a different logo on the shirt and
You can hear
different
now?
color. But yes.
Yay. Oh, good. No, I was just saying there's one up now for $87.01 on eBay.
Jeez.
Okay, you gotta ask yourselves when you're looking at these things, how many axes can you buy with that?
I was just gonna.
Yes.
Yeah, that's half a hatchet. That's a
No,
half
that's
an
like-
Apex Legend hatchet.
Yeah, you're right.
True, it is a skin that less than, I guess, according to, I'm assuming GW2 efficiency, than 1% of the community have. I'm curious how many people are in the camp of, if you told me that, I'd be like, yeah, but it's also how many people want it. Like,
Right. I mean, it would be cool to have. I would probably never actually use it though. So
I mean, it's kind of like some of the skin. Like I talked earlier a while ago that I got the latest Jackal 2K gem skin out of a Black Lion chest that I just had a random key for.
nice.
I'm like, it's cool that I have it. I use it on like one character.
and yeah, I'm not knocking the people that do want it. I'm just saying, but I will say, probably don't go out and spending $87 for it. Like,
Yeah,
Right.
like think of the hatchets you can buy. That's going to be our metric from now on: is how many axes can
How
you
many
buy?
hatches is this worth?
well, can it be full on axes are like dollars, but hatchets are like the cents, like the. So it's like, oh, it's one axe and two hatchets. Like, oh, okay.
I like it.
Yes.
You know, we need like emotes for the Discord server now: Mad Axe and Mad Hatchet.
Yes.
Okay, I'll start working on it. I'll have to find some pretty good. I'll have to find some pretty good images. But anyway,
really.
we digress. But yeah, I mean, could you think of any other systems that maybe you've seen other games do or promote or?
All of those are good ways to do it. I kind of wish the point system is something that companies would make their own of, so I didn't feel like I was selling my information to a third party.
Right.
I like it, Mofongo. All the big...
I'll say the only other thing I could think of is maybe something like ESO does, where like they'll have free weekends, but since Guild Wars 2's base is free to play at this point, but what another thing they sometimes do is they kind of tease the people that already have it to getting the optional subscription is, hey, for this weekend or for these couple days, you have all the benefits of someone with the subscription. So in that case, you have like the DLCs. You just don't get the monthly crown or premium currency amount because that would that wouldn't be a good idea. But you get like the benefits of the infinite resource bank thing, and so nice little things. And you could even go into like the DLC zones. Like, yeah, what if they had for like a weekend, which they kind of played with in Guild Wars 2, was leading up to the previous season where they were like, you could log in and get the previous episodes leading up to it. The finale again, you had another shot at it at a shorter rate, but maybe not a free way to unlock it, but maybe be like this, if they had the technology. Once again, don't know if they had the technology for it, but if they were like, okay, this weekend you can play some, like some of the living story, or even like, you know, to tease people to be like, hey, that was kind of fun. Oh, I don't have access to it anymore. Like, let me maybe possibly, you know, throw money at it or something, but
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the only other thing I could really think of that I've seen other games utilize.
I don't know.
Any
Like,
other
I honestly,
thoughts? Okay.
I kind of think I still think the point system is probably one of the less like the easiest ones to set up. I just, like I said before, I don't like having to go through
Yeah.
Gleam to do it, because that's agreeing to hand my information over to yet another party, when if I was handing it directly to ArenaNet for the points, then I already know they already have my information, so it's not like I'm actually doing anything worse by doing so.
Yeah.
But that's my only addition on that.
But yeah, you know, if you don't want to take the chance, like you said with Gleam, you're giving out your information for a chance at something. Well, if you want to, you know, spend a little bit of money and have a guaranteed chance at something, you should take a look at the gem store. And speaking of the gem store, we have the new it's the whole set is the Primal Warden appearance package, which is 2,000 gems, which includes, as you're seeing here, the Primal Warden outfit for 700 gems. Also, we have the Great Lodge chair for 400 gems separately. Or also in the store, we have, you can see here a little bit of an example, the Norn die kit, which separately you can get 1 for 125 gems, 5 for 500 gems, and 25 for 2,500 gems. But you can get all this stuff in the bundle, including 5 of those Norn die kits, the Great Lodge chair, the Warden outfit, an Onyx and Gold line weapon choice, and a total makeover kit for 2,000 gems. Or you can a la carte, like we said earlier. But
Mofongo, that is a discount Wilderness Batman outfit.
yeah, I'm wondering if, like, well, see, I was gonna say, I wonder if this plays into the, because it kind of has that weird, like, wearing a weird mask or something, of like maybe these are people that hunt the bone skin. Like, do we know if there's gonna only be one bone skinner, or, you know, we don't.
See, my only problem is,
But they never really tie it too much to that.
Yeah, like the Mist Stranger outfit, that could have been a really cool tie-in, and it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. Yet. No, I know.
Like, yeah, yet, but like, it's been how long since that came out?
Yeah.
I look at this and I'm like, I kind of like the shoulder pieces. That's about it.
Yeah, and I agree with chat, and I like it. It is definitely a strange outfit, not for me, but hey, if you do like it, more power to you. Do remember it is an outfit, so you can hide all, like, it's all or nothing, but you can hide the helmet. But yeah, it's
honestly
definitely...
I could see like, depending on how this looks on a chart, I could totally see people wanting the helmet and just the helmet. Like, I actually legit think this would be a solid char helm.
I mean, honestly, now I'm looking at, like, once again, I wish it was separate pieces, but also mainly for the multiple die options, since it's usually 4 die slots that, you know, hopefully go across the whole thing well.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got like the almost like furry boots and like kind of like the furry boa. Put that on Norn, you got a pro wrestler, man. You got an 80s, 90s pro wrestler right there. Dye yellow, you got Hogan. Come on, let's do this.
Didn't Macho Man go through a phase where he had feathers too?
Well, he did do a boa, but I think on his boots were always like the weird tassel things. Though I'm sure he has.
Wait,
but
those gauntlets are basically the primeval gauntlets.
Yeah. But yeah, now I'm like slightly intrigued. Like, I'm like, man, this is like, I can make a pro wrestler.
You'd have to get like a really good hot pink.
Well, unfortunately, that's not one of the options in the die kit, but I know there's some good hot pinks out there.
Okay,
But-
it's not the Primeval gauntlets. They're similar, but not exactly the same.
But can you hide the shame from purchasing it? Ouch.
Never. It's a stain on your account for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I did see people making the reference that it looks like a bad go-go dancer outfit. But honestly, I slightly sold myself a little bit on it of like, oh, if it could die well. Granted, I still probably won't buy it because once it's also an outfit, so. Okay, maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, chat saying it looks more closer to the Dark Templar gloves, which.
Now I'm back on the wiki. Dark Templar armor.
But, I mean,
holy shit, it is.
I mean, I guess we're slight spoiler to it, but would you be picking up the package or any of these in particular? I mean, granted, I like as a Norm player, I do like the chair, but I already have the sky scale chair thing. Like,
Right.
I mean, I'm sitting on a dragon. Wow, this is cool. Like,
Yeah.
I heard that in Terry Crews' voice. Ow.
But yeah, so and like we showed before, it's if you're you can easily transfer gold to gems. It might have hit a little bit because I could see people going for the chair. The outfit, I think I could still see people going for it. It might be a lot less just because outfits are a little bit less customization, and also it is a little bit more out there than.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a very specific kind of style, so
Yeah,
it's less broad appeal.
I mean, if you're going for, I mean, we're joking about how basically Jormag's Game of Thrones, if they didn't have a wall, now that kind of does look like the Wildlings, like what's her face when she's in her Wildlings gear. Granted, she was still more clothed than, of course, a female in a video game, but but yeah, they kind of had that like just fur lined, and so maybe if you're going for a Wildling look, you could probably pull it off with the outfit. But yeah, so that's the new stuff. But some of the returning stuff is the Shimmering Skyscale skin, the Shrine Guardian Jackal skin, the Night Fang Griffin skin, the Gallant Light Bearer Raptor skin, the Tremor Armadillo Roller Beetle skin, the Magnificent Hummingbird Skimmer skin, and the Sun Temple Gecko Springer skin, all for 2,000 gems a piece. Not a bundle, a piece. Just making sure.
It's all the 2K
each
gems.
of them. Yes.
Yeah, I thought you were saying all of them are for.
That's
just
why I
2K.
wanted to make sure.
Holy shit!
You're like, I gotta go.
Yeah,
because I wanted the hummingbird one and I've wanted the gecko one for a long time, both of those, and they haven't gotten them.
And
yeah, they're just returning. They're not on sale or anything.
What did you say, Mel?
It's just I'll have 5.
Yeah, they are just returning. They're not on sale or anything. So yeah, 2,000 gems a pop for each of them.
Yeah, you won't jump in on this because they're not infinite gathering tools.
Yeah. I mean, I want those, but I also am poor right now, so.
The only one I think I would consider buying at the moment is the roller beetle skin, the armadillo.
It's awesome.
It's very well animated.
Yeah. And the way you can dye it is really cool too. I'm
not gonna lie, I am really disappointed with what they've done with roller beetle skins. I'm
really?
Not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm.
Are you like most of the people like in the community that are like, oh, for Halloween they should have did like the giant Mad King head, like flame pumpkin helmet?
Well, that's what I was talking about when we were talking about it beforehand. Is like it could be just the Mad King's head for the roller, and then when it stops, because PD kind of stands there, it has like wooden vines as like the feet when it stops, and it's just the Mad King's face just kind of standing there with like little spider feet. But like it's just a sphere.
Yeah.
That's all it is. There's so much
Yeah.
design work that can be done with that, and it's literally just been reskinning the beetle.
Yeah.
Well, first off, another holiday one people brought up was Winter's Day. It could just be a bauble. Like it could just be
Snowball.
No, it could
That
be
too.
a quaggan running like a hamster in the ball with like the hat and the scarf on.
Yes.
And yeah, like in chat's bring up ones that are like more, you know, ingrained in like kind of the environment of Guild Wars 2, like the motorcycle skin for like a roller beetle. But I was just thinking, what if we got like oh my god, what if they got the what was it, the globe from the Order Whispers? If you could get like a replica of that as your like roller beetle like thing, like.
Well, hell, that's a fantastic way to do anything tied with the game. Is like we already have the Vigil, the Order of Whispers, and the Priory all have like themes with their armors and their weapons. I could totally see mount skins themed after that. Hey, you want to put mount skins in the game? Do it for the orders.
I would like that.
A Skritt horse, QED?
Yeah, didn't they have that for, what was it, last Winter's Day, where I forget what festival it was, but they literally, because they were racing with you, there was a Skritt on a fake horse.
Oh.
No,
Like
I've
one of
never
those,
seen
like-
it.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, okay. Yeah, okay,
No.
it was last Winter's Day. That's what I thought, but
Well, I'll see it in a month.
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. So like you said, you were suggesting the armadillo mount. While I don't have it, what is it, the Shimmer Wings Sky Scale one? I've seen a lot of people dye that very beautifully. Like it's
Yeah.
a very
very well.
Mm-hmm.
if you can go and look up past skins of that, like, or dye jobs of that, like
And if you're
if you're
fan of,
in
like,
the market for them.
fairy dragons,
Yeah.
of any
But
design,
granted,
that's-
you're also going to need a Sky Scale, which requires the living story thing and also
charged
going
quartz.
through the collection.
A piss ton of charged quartz.
Mm-hmm.
Charged
Yeah,
quartz is
like-
bullshit.
But
Sorry, I'm done.
no. But yeah, any other suggestions you guys would recommend of a skin that you maybe enjoyed, or
The
Saw
shrine
that you-
jackal is awesome too.
which one's that one? The Shrine
The
That's
Guard?
Kitsune.
the 7 tail.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that one's a definitely nice looking one. I've heard a lot of people.
Yeah.
It does. It gets good dye colors too. So
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Any other thoughts on Gem Store?
No.
Well, that is it for this week. So, Jim, where can they find you?
I can be found on Twitter at MelFanusMMO. You can also find me here on twitch.tv/MAAD Realms. That's 2 A's in the MAAD every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, maybe earlier if I get home earlier from work and or the gym. Doing the streaming thing, which this Wednesday I'm going to be getting back into PvP because the season is a thing. And yes, PvP madness, because I need to do my placements. Because when I tried to do my placements, not this past week, but the week before that, was when they put the build templates in the game and instances were crashing out. So people were getting stuck in PvP maps. So I said, no, I will wait until things are patched. So placements this upcoming Wednesday. Come help. Be in chat so that I am not insane.
Well, you'll still
appreciate it.
be insane.
Oh, well, yeah, but hey.
Awesome. And Age, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at Age Night Road. Not much going on right now. We'll see, because holidays are soon.
Yeah,
I
we're
can
hitting the
actually-
end of the year where it just all the holiday functions and stuff. So should be interesting.
I have overtime next week, starting next week. So
Woo!
I'll try to see if I can make everything still. Just to let you guys know all of it. I'll work and play. I did make a legendary a couple days ago. Made meteorological.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter.
Nice.
Fun. I need to make one more before the year ends out to just break even. I can't seem to break 5 a year, so I'll just try to break even this year.
I love how you
You're
talk
running
about
out
them
of
so
legendaries
casually.
to make.
Yeah.
I still got a few more.
Eesh. Well,
Yeah,
good luck to you, and hopefully you at least break even.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to, you can just start making them for me. I'll be that sacrifice, and I'll gladly take a legendary off your hands if you.
You already have the Flameseeker prophecies, though.
Yeah, I have like the important one, the important lore one. But anyway, I'll always be open to taking more if you're just giving them away. But Robin, where can they find you?
Find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Arlie82. Wednesday nights I stream on my stream Arlie82, and then Thursday nights and Sunday mornings I stream on the MMORPG COM channel.
Yes.
I know.
Which is, I mean, basically, you know, we do the intro MMORPG.com. Just take out the dot, stick that
Right.
after the Twitch. Like,
Yeah. The COM matters because just the MMORPG is different.
They spelled dot as DOT and then com.
That would have been good, but no. In the Sunday morning stream, currently I'm working my way through Banner Saga, so that's fun.
awesome. And you can find me at simply_Dale on Twitch and Twitter. But in reality, you know, I'm always here, more than likely streaming from here. So if you doing shows and whatnot, but hopefully eventually get to stream more. But we'll see.
We have a
But
race
yeah,
on
if you
Tuesday.
what's that?
We have a race on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh boy, I'm not ready for that. But yeah, so what he's referencing is our Warframe podcast. We're gonna have our little event since now Grendel and I almost said Grenth. That's here. And Gauss have come out. They've always kind of teased that Gauss was a speedster, but Grendel might be able to hold his own. So we're actually gonna have a race, and
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna lose because I suck at races.
Aw.
Well, I just naturally suck at races, but nothing against Grendel. Definitely enjoying them. But anyway, as I digress, if you are just sticking around, or if you are just popping in, do stick around. We do a bit of an after show, but if you want to watch this in full, we do highlight on our Twitch, which is twitch.tv/MAADrealms, 2 A's in the MAAD. That usually we highlight that by the evening on Saturdays. But if you prefer YouTube, if that is your platform of choice, we do put it up on YouTube, youtube.com/MAADrealms. That goes up at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on Sundays. And at the same time, if you want it all in one nice little package, especially with our audio version of the podcast, we put it up on our website on maadrealms.com, which is 2 A's in the MAAD, as usual. And that goes up on Sundays as well, along with the audio version of the podcast, if that is your preference of choice. But yeah, that is it for this week, and we'll see everybody next time in the game. Good night, everybody.